Hey, welcome guys, it's Jeff from CapX Cards. Today we're going to dig into some of the small but profitable deals that I've been able to make by shipping cards from eBay into the PSA Vault. Now, if you're new to the channel, I just got back into the sports game late July of last year, so I guess we're on, 9 months or so. Doing this with my son, started in vintage cards, had a lot of trouble grading vintage cards for any sort of ROI. But since about November and the holidays, I've switched over to ultramodern cards myself, and things have felt a lot better on that front in terms of grading cards. And this PSA Vault concept, I think it came out in Q3 or Q4 of last year because it was actually like a big to-do when it launched or when it connected to eBay, one of those two things. So it's definitely on my radar to test as a guy who's getting back in the game. So that's the point of this video. It's just to show you my experiences. They're all lower end cards. It's pretty much where I play the game. So there's no Lamborghinis in here. There's no Honus Wagners, but it is very interesting, and hopefully you enjoy, seeing my experience on it. Okay, logging in here to my PSA account. These are the cards that I currently have in my vault. Looks like, maybe 10 of them or so. And some of these are cards that I've shipped in, or they are cards that I have shipped in raw and had graded by PSA. So, for example, this Tyler Warren and this Brock Bowers were two that I pulled out of packs that I opened with my son, and I sent them in for grading. They got PSA 9, so I really didn't want to pay the money to bring them back because they're not like wildly valuable. So I just shipped them to the vault for free, so to speak. At least the shipping part was free. And what I'm going to do is just hang on to these, and then when it comes closer to football season, July, August, when things pick up for the so-called football buying season, I'll see where the market stands on these. Right now, I think they are both net losers. If they were to be sold at market price today, they would both come in for less than the raw cost of the card plus grading. Long story short, this is not the time to sell these two particular PSA 9s, but I do like both players, and maybe their markets will increase. Now, this one down here at the bottom is a little more interesting because this was the first card that I had sent to the vault, and I actually purchased it on eBay through PSA. You see how it says sold by PSA, and I paid $17.50 for this Malachi Fields 10 out of 10 PSA 10. At the time when I bought this, I was thinking that Malachi was going to come back to Notre Dame. He had been injured. He had a really big playoff. I guess it would have been last year, 2025 playoffs. So I was thinking, well, this is perfect. I'll buy this card, a 10 for $17.50. Maybe comes back and helps Notre Dame in the playoffs. Unfortunately, Notre Dame didn't make the playoffs, so Malachi never came back. But now here we are in NFL draft season, and Malachi's probably not a first-round pick, but he could be low first round, almost certainly in the second round. Now, this Caitlin Clark and the LeBron are both cards that I purchased off of the PSA eBay site and won them in auction. So you can see on the Caitlin Clark, actually, let's just look at this. So it has an estimate of $20. This is not a big card. This is a Mint 9 Campus Legend, base. But you can see my cost. So if you buy it on eBay from the PSA store, only from the PSA store, it will import your costs. So looks like I bought this one at the end of January, $18.77. Technically it's worth $20 now. There is no offer for this one, but I mean, hey, look at that. I'm already up $1.27 in invisible value. So, this is how empires are made. 6.8%. Honestly, with Clark, assuming the WNBA gets their labor act together, I would imagine we'll see a further bump in her market. It is already trending up. All right, so let's dig into the offers side. Right now, I have 4 live offers. So the Brock Bowers we looked at, currently $22.07. It's not necessarily a bad offer. I just really just not interested in selling it right now. I think if the Raiders get the #1 draft pick and the Indiana quarterback, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Oh, it's Mendoza. So I think if they get Mendoza, I think Raiders hoopla goes kind of crazy, and Brock Powers will be part of that. Not to say that this is going to be a $100 card, but by the time you put in Brock Bowers with Ashton Genty, of course, Mendoza will be the hottest rookie. I'll just hang on. Now, here's Malachi Fields, and if you remember, let's see if it's still up here. So I paid $17.50. And right now, I could sell it for $24.28. Either way, buying this card back in November for $17 worked out pretty well, and it's a good example of, I guess, what's possible in theory to buy low, never touch the card, and send it into PSA. Now, the Zay Flowers, that offer is $20.24. I have to get my sheet here. I bought the Zay Flowers for $18. Now, technically, it was in a larger lot, and the item cost, or the line item cost, I guess you could say, was $10.50. But then there was tax and shipping. So the $20.24, it's not necessarily unfair, but it's just not motivating to sell today. And I think the other thing with Zay Flowers is I think Lamar Jackson gets a little bit of hype rejuvenation with a new coach. We'll see what they do in the draft. If it's $20, if the offer drops to $17, who cares? I'll wait and see where it stands in late July. All right, last one here is this LeBron James. You see the offer, $30.21. This one's a little interesting because I bought it off eBay PSA, right? And you can see the total up here of $27, and then you see another line here, $32.99. So whatever weekend I bought this, or week or whatever, there was a glitch, literally a glitch in the eBay system where normally you have the option when you go to check out, you just push send to my vault, and obviously you have to set that up in your account. But bottom line, that button that says ship to vault wasn't working, and I knew I got a halfway decent price at $27, so I just paid the regular shipping and figured I'd sort it out with PSA at another time. Well, at the end of the day, they did do the right thing, but they were working on that bug within the eBay, the developers on eBay were working through that bug for probably like 10 or 12 days. So PSA stance on my, customer contact was, hey, we'll get this all sorted out. We need eBay to fix the bug first. So I ended up waiting a little while, 10 or 14 days, and I'm like, look, I just want my shipping back. I'm happy with the card. I'm happy with the price I paid. Just want my $5.99 back for shipping because I shouldn't have had to pay that. And ultimately, it did come through, which is great. Just took a little bit longer. That's not how it's supposed to work. And that's not how PSA wants it to work. So I should have bought this card. My auction should have ended at 27. And I should have been able to push a button. And it takes a few days, but ultimately have this card show up in my vault. And flipping back here, so I bought it at 27. You see the offer's $30.21. So hey, $3, not that big, nothing to get super excited about. However, that is a 10% return on a very small card. I'll probably just hang on to this one for now. I think LeBron's probably moving to a new team next year, so maybe that'll reignite the hype train. We'll see. I mean, this isn't like necessarily the craziest card of all time. But, it wouldn't surprise me if I get $35-ish and a fresh offer at some point. All right, last part here, I want to show you some things that I've actually accepted the offer. You can see, I'm not going to dig into my account, but you set up a Stripe, which is basically a third-party website, kind of sort of like PayPal. So once you get that out of the way, and after you run your very first transaction where you accept the sold offers or the buy it now offers, things move really fast. So I think, obviously you got to get your account confirmed. I think that first transaction for me took a little bit longer to actually hit my bank account. But now I'm at a spot when I press sold. Sometimes the money shows up as pending in my checking account like the very next business day. All right, now these first two on the board were actually cards that I graded through PSA and shipped them to the vault and then waited for the vault offers. So I had offers after they were graded. I thought they were both kind of low, but I knew that at least with Michael Jordan, there's not a ton of risk here. So instead of accepting the offer immediately after grading, I shipped them here, and the offers actually did go up over time. Now, I check this website probably 3 or 4 times a week when I have more cards in it. But to get 82, particularly for the metal, let's see if it gives an estimate on the value. Yeah, so they're saying, the estimate on Card Ladder is $93 to $103. So the $83 that I sold it for is about 20% off of, I guess, full value. But if I'm selling it through eBay, I'm really close to that 20% on costs and fees. So I do promote all of my listings. You can check out our store in the description. So I do about 3% promoted listings fees, plus eBay's fee of 13%, plus the wacky way that they take the total transaction value and get a few pennies for themselves, plus the shipping, and throw in a couple bucks for my time, and you're right at 20% in my world on cards that I've sold on eBay. So to get the 20% here, literally wired into my bank account without doing an eighth of the work, I'll take that as a good deal. So on both of these, I made about $30-some. I think I bought these raw for $20 to $25 plus the grading fee. And honestly, they have a pretty established market. They're not going to go up crazy. It's not like it's a Jordan rookie card, right? This Tyrese Maxey here, I did list it on eBay for a little while back in fall when NBA first started. And despite the Sixers' hot start, I just couldn't get close to what I wanted for it as far as offers. So I just shipped it in. And this was kind of factoring in that I wanted to get $55-ish for it on eBay, and then you take out 20%. I was not able to secure that on eBay, so getting the equivalent of it here just by shipping it in, not a bad deal. I think it cost me $12 to $15 to ship in maybe 8 slabs at one time. So we'll just say that $2 of this, of the 43, I lost to, having it in my possession, then sending it to somebody else to sell. All right, this RASHEE Bryce, I actually bought back in November, right before he came back to the field. Total purchase price, tax, shipping, the whole nine, $15.81. PSA paid $22.81 back on February 9th, which honestly was kind of surprising because after Mahomes got hurt, I really couldn't sell this for more than I bought it for originally. So I'll take it as a win. I mean, again, you're talking about a $20-something card, and I went from 16-ish to 22. It's a win, right? Same thing on Marvin Harrison. This one I purchased. Final purchase price was $67. I ran it on eBay for some time at about $85 and could not catch a bid on it. So football ended, packed it up, sold it to the vault. After it sat for a little bit, it eventually popped with an offer, $75. So I only made $7 on it minus some shipping, but I did get it sold. This Teddy Bruschi I purchased at a card show. Unfortunately, it came back a 9, and it's not a rookie or anything. It's just a cool red refractor. This one, I experimented sending it straight to eBay auction after it was graded by PSA, and it did okay. The sold price was $33 and it was $7 in fees. So ultimately my net on that is, oh, there it is, $25.71, which does barely covers the cost of grading and certainly doesn't cover the $10 or so I spent on the card. So the Brewski definitely a net loser, but it's a little bit different of a net loser because I experimented with just running it to auction after PSA graded it. The Gronkowski, I think I have here, bought from PSA, so won it at an auction back in November, $16. I paid $16 for this Gronk rookie PSA 8. Offer recently popped up around the Super Bowl. So ultimately, you know, bought it for 16, sold for 22. It's only $6, but from a percentage basis, it's actually pretty solid. 16, I mean, it's, you know, 30% or so. It's just on a smaller card, so the number doesn't look super awesome, but it's a good example of, you know, an opportunity that's out here. With buying stuff off eBay, sending it to the vault, skipping the shipping charge, right? Technically, you skip the sales tax charge as well because the item is in Delaware. So you get rid of some of that fee structure and you bring it back down to more like an apples to apples kind of thing if you're just trying to profit, right? If you're buying a card for $100 that you think you can sell via the Vault Offers program for $120, then, you know, it's literally net $20 minus, of course, you know, your end of year taxes, however you report your revenue, that would come into play. But the bottom line is some of these things that obscure or dilute the value on eBay cards get eliminated with the system. All right, guys, so that's sort of a rookie look at PSA Vault and some of the opportunities that are out there. I will say that I think it's sort of a fun arbitrage game. If you like sports cards and you have a decent knowledge of it, I mean, if I'm just getting back in the game after whatever 9 months and I can pull off some tiny wins like this, guys who have bigger budgets, guys who are playing in, you know, $500, $300 cards, there's probably a huge opportunity there. That's not really the price points that I play at, but check it out. I would definitely recommend, you know, starting slow, buying a few cheap cards, see what happens. And I think the biggest thing that I can tell you in my experience with the Vault is just because you don't get an offer, so when you ship it, and don't be discouraged if you don't see an offer right away. And don't be discouraged if the offer is technically low because it changes over time. So on the Jordans, you know, the final offer that I accepted on both of those Jordans was not the same thing that they first offered. They were in the 70s and 60s, and eventually I cashed in about the $83 mark, something like that. So, you know, you just have to be patient with it. Obviously, you need marketable cards, stuff that somebody else can resell. But it's another way to do things, literally, without getting your hands dirty. So check it out. All right, guys, let me know if you've had any little wins like this with the PSA Vault. I'd love to hear your comments down below. Hope everybody's doing well. We'll see you on the next video.